What's going on, everybody? It's Stick Style Sick. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Raise your hand if you're a Pokemon Go hoarder. Thanks. That's me. At least by my own standards. Although I used to be worse. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 questions you can ask yourself if you're hoarding too many Pokemon. By the way, hoarding just means you're holding on to too many. You're not deleting them or clearing your inventory often enough or thoroughly enough. We're going to talk about those 3 questions, and then I'm going to talk about Pokemon that I think you should keep. After that, I'll talk about some of the tags that I personally use, although there's better videos and better like resources that you can use to find better tags. But the spark for this video came from my TikTok, which, by the way, you should go follow and like some of my videos on there. It's also Stick Style 6 Pogo. Someone asked on my TikTok what tags I used and if there was a good method I used. I don't, mine's not super, scientific or like thought through or anything, but I have a tags that I think work for me. They specify things that are like Pokemon that are important or cool or special to me. And so I'll go through that. And then we'll go through a couple of things that you can do to hoard a little bit less. Just a couple like tips on there too. Before we get into all that, please like and subscribe. I'm not really trying to grow this channel too much, but I do like making content. I play Pokemon Go basically every day, so it'd be awesome. Yeah. Also, in this video, I want you to go to the comments and, if you like, answer the question, why do you play Pokemon Go in 2024? That's going to be the topic for the next video. So go to the comments, answer that question, and I'll read some of the comments. I also posted in my local campfire community the same question, so I want to see if I can get some feedback. Video I'm going to be talking about a lot. Why I think people play Pokemon Go and why I personally play Pokemon Go, since that's the strongest perspective that I can really offer. So anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of. I've got 3 questions you can ask yourself to kind of decide if you're like keeping or hoarding too many Pokemon. The first one is, you have way too many Pokemon, and that one's going to be a check mark for me. So we're going to log in. Oops, I forgot. I have a lure running, and I've got an adventure effect going. Let's get in here. Let's catch these guys. All right, so if we go in here to our inventory, mine's actually not as bad as it used to be. 5,300 Pokemon in my box. Now, granted, and we're going to talk a little bit about this later, some of those Pokemon are from 2016. As a matter of fact, this Kabutops is from 2016 7/7. That's launch day of Pokemon Go. So that's oh wow. It's the only Pokemon I have from the first day of Pokemon Go. I caught that in South Texas. And so I have a lot of Pokemon. One of the biggest things the biggest categories of Pokemon that I find hard to delete are like old Pokemon. I have a bunch from 2016, 2017. I think that's really fun and super nostalgic. It's a bunch of Gen 1. And then finally, where's the first gen? Is this the first Gen 2 Pokemon that I have? So anyway, I've got a lot. I think if you're constantly within 100 to 500 available slots left, which means if you have 8,000 inventory slots and you're always between 7,500 and 7,900, 800, or 7,900, 8,000, then it's too much. I like having more head space, more headroom, like in your inventory. Right now, actually, this is a pretty good amount to me, 5,300. I bet if I went through my box and deleted a few things, that I could get that probably right below 5,000. And I'll show you kind of how I do that in a little bit. The second question, do you save Pokemon for weird reasons? Also check mark. So I've got 2 check marks out of my 3 questions so far. I save Pokemon for the most random reasons. I used to have a whole category tag for wild Pokemon. Like I would just, if I saw a Charizard in the wild, I would keep it. If I even saw like a wild Arcanine in the I would keep it and tag it like wild spawn and stuff. I always keep like older stuff, which there is a value to that, so we'll revisit that. But just keeping thousands of really old mons for no reason, I think is, you kind of have to decide how many you really need to keep. Being like, oh, I caught this, and some of these again, I do this, so I'm not telling you not to do this, but I think you have to be honest when you're asking yourself these questions. It's like a personal analysis. Just be, self-aware, be kind of like that. So it's like, oh, I caught this Pokemon on my birthday, or I caught this Pokemon when I was, I don't know, like at the grocery store and I found $20. This is my lucky $20 Pokemon. I don't know. There's a lot of weird reasons. I'm sure there's other ones that I used to like save Pokemon that was like, all right, I'm gonna save every 96 IV Pokemon. Anything that's 90s, you don't have to save all your 90 IV Pokemon. If you play like every day, I average between 200 and 500 Pokemon every like single day, basically. Because if I'm not out playing, which I get very busy, so I don't get to do that every day. I will just have my auto catcher on all the time, and like, I get a I'd say on a low day, like 170 to 200 Pokemon with just auto catcher, which sounds crazy, but it's really is a thing. If you just always have it running. I also live in a city, so driving through like downtown in the city, and like I get to drive through a college campus on my way home if I want to. So yeah, you get a lot of extra stuff. If you don't play every day, then yeah, you do want to save your good IV Pokemon. Maybe saving the best IV Pokemon from every like single category, but you don't need 690, centrets or anything like that. I think that's just when you're starting to create these like, I need this and this and this and this and this. That I think that's becoming like becomes like a weird reason. I also save basically every shiny, which is not a weird reason per se, but because community days have made some shinies so available, I think we are at the point, and other YouTubers have mentioned this, that you don't have to save every single shiny. I still do until my shinies get to, until that number gets like over 1,500. I'll probably keep saving them. Right now, I think I'm like around a that. Let's see. I am around 1,172 shinies and 800 untraded shinies. So I do trade a lot with my partner's account. So I have extra shinies and stuff, but I've also traded away a bunch. So do you save Pokemon for weird reasons? Just be honest with yourself. By the way, it's not like a terrible thing to be a hoarder. Like, this is a game, you should play it the way you want to play it. But that's my second question in the three-part analysis of, are you a Pokemon hoarder? So, and the last thing is, are you just afraid of regretting deleting a Pokemon? This has got to be my biggest one. I don't delete stuff sometimes because I'm like, man, what if this is, good for PvP in the future? Or what if this becomes really rare? Or like, what if you can't? And sometimes that happens to where I'm like, oh, like I really, this person needs a Horsey, or, there's some Pokemon out there that like I haven't seen in years that I just don't even realize. But like Horsey and Shoulder the other day, I was like, wait, I don't have as many of these as I thought I did. And like, I never see them spawn or anything. So there are like, even besides like legendaries, oh, that's another thing, kind of. Okay, going back to the second question, sort of like shinies, where you don't transfer any shinies, not transferring any legendaries just because they're legendaries. That's another thing I do. But I've been getting better. I still have a lot of my 3-star legendaries, and I've been trading them to get XL candies. So that's a good thing that I'm putting them to like a purpose. So going back to the third thing, yeah, I'm always afraid like, wow, if I don't get these legendaries, they're not going to come back for like a year or whatever. This is going to be the last time that this thing is available. Same with like even like costume shinies, is like keeping multiple costume shinies for like, well, what if somebody wants to trade for one and they're like never going to come back? And so just being afraid that you're going to delete something and then regret it forever is a bad reason to just hoard. I mean, that's what hoarding basically is. And there's like a couple books that you can read on this stuff, as far as like, definitely outside of the game and just real life, is like not wanting to get rid of stuff and like keeping every single thing. I know my parents do that. I do that. So if you ever read, want to read about that, there's a book by Marie Kondo. I forget what it's called, but Marie Kondo is a really good, she wrote a really good book about like getting rid of things and making like, a lot of people don't get rid of things for sentimental values, and she has really good like uh advice on how to like be like, hey, this is sentimental to me, but it has like served its material purpose. It's okay to get rid of it. The memory will still be with me. And if the memory's not with me, then maybe it's not as sentimental as as you think. So just being afraid and like that you're gonna regret. I mean, there's so many reasons you might. So everybody understands like what this is. You're like, oh, I'm gonna save it just in case, or oh, I'm afraid to delete it because I just this might be a thing in the future. That'd be my number three, and I check all those boxes. So let me know how many of those boxes you've checked, or maybe you've gotten better. So I used to hoard way more. I think I do a lot less now, although I still think I check all three of these criteria. But let me know like how you score on that. Do you hoard Pokemon, or maybe you're someone who doesn't keep a lot of Pokemon? I also used to be a big like living dex person, although there's just so many Pokemon now that I'm not going to keep up with that until I get my real dex pretty close. My shiny and normal real dex is pretty close, and then I'll kind of work on like a living dex. But I just there's so many reasons that we like hoard these things, and if you do this in Pokemon Go, you might do this in real life too. So, it's worth like kind of thinking about that. Definitely read that book, Marie Kondo. I forgot what it's called, but I'll look at it right now because it's the Con Marie method. I think the book just might be Con Marie. Sorry, I can't find the name of the book. All that being said, there is a reason to save certain things and not get rid of it just because you're afraid you're hoarding something. So definitely make sure to save a certain amount of older Pokemon. So earlier I was talking about like I've got some 2016. I actually have year 2016. I've got 131 from 2016, almost 300 from 2017, almost 400 from 2018, and then goes back down to 20. Oh, sorry, 95 from, wow. Yeah, I didn't play for a few years, so this might be where I started to trail off. Yeah, 2020 I didn't play very much, but that's kind of limited too. Here's the reason why. In everybody's account, you're guaranteed a certain amount of lucky trades when you trade an older Pokemon. That data isn't really available to us, and there's other YouTube videos that you can go watch to get the actual amounts that people think it is. But basically, it's around like 10 to 20 um, Pokemon that when you trade them from the year 2016, they're going to guarantee a lucky trade. Once you use all of those, you cannot trigger any more guaranteed lucky trades from that. And it kind of goes to like 2017, 2018, 2019 that um there's larger chances of getting those trades, but they're not guaranteed. The guaranteed ones, I think, are limited. I think that's kind of how it works. But basically, if you haven't used up your guaranteed lucky trades, which is there's no way of checking except like trying it out. If you trade an older Pokemon from 2016 to to whenever, you'll have a certain amount of guaranteed lucky trades. And as the years go by, I think they kind of move that up to where like at some point you'll be able to trade a Pokemon from 2020 and get a guaranteed one. So that's a reason to keep older Pokemon, but you don't have to keep like 100 like I have. You can keep, just a few of them as well. I also kind of, talking about keeping shinies, I feel like everyone should just have a number and kind of base that off of your total inventory is what I would do. So my number is about 1500. I think once I get to 1500 shinies just in general, I will start trimming out the ones that it's like, yeah, we have way too many of these useless shinies. They're not going to be good for anything. Or try to trade them to somebody, or find somebody that does it, or get a friend to play Pokemon Go and be like, yeah, I'm gonna be trading you a bunch of shinies, and let's just play every a couple times a week or something like that. So that's what I would say. If you play PvP, make sure you have a search string for PvP. So the one I use, oh, imagine something. Let's check that. Gotcha. So the search string that I use for PvP, and we'll talk about all these search strings. PvP stats, it's 0 attack and 3-4 defense and 3-4 HP. And that's going to, oh, look, this is shiny Bidoof. That's going to give you Pokemon that, let's find a good example. If you don't know PvP, for some of the lower leagues, it's better to have less attack stats because the CP then will be higher when you're trying to get it as close to 1500 for Great League and 2500 for Ultra League as you can. So if you do this search string, you're going to find ones that like this attack. This is actually pretty close to being like kind of perfect. Let's see if it shows us power up. And let's see if we can get us close to, how close can we get to 1500 and how close can we get to 20. Oh, right, it's a Phantom. We can't, but I'm not going to evolve it. But anyway, it gets you really close to 1500 so that you can have an advantage in those leagues that have limits. So that's what PvP stats means. It means a low attack stat because of the way the stats are weighted, it'll let you have a higher CP before your Pokemon is ineligible to play in that league. I don't really mess with that when I play PvP. I have finally gotten Ace the last 2 seasons, which is not super great by some people's standards, but I just haven't really played it. I do like it though. I really should put more time into it. But I pretty much just play Master League, which I think is also frowned upon. So I don't know much about the PvP world, but I haven't gotten to the point where this is super important to me. I also this doesn't mean all these Pokemon are good in PvP. You still have to have like the right PvP Pokemon with the right stats, like in some of these leagues. So I don't know. Some of these might be good, but some of them, just who knows. So, but that's a PvP thing. Obviously, if you like, oh man, I forgot I should be catching stuff. If you like play PvP, you'll kind of know more about this, and there's also some like videos that you can look up as well. Oh, look at an Excadrill up here. Cool. Nice. PvP's that. Let's get into something you can do to kind of do maintenance every day and kind of go through your stuff. So I have a couple search strings that, again, you can find a bunch of videos that will give you like a better one. I'm going to give you the ones that I use. I like to save, especially these first three, Nundo, Shiny, and Perfect 44. Perfect 4. I basically every day, like after I've had my Pogo Plus on all day, or after I've gone on a catch, I like just open this screen and I basically remember like what where my numbers are. So I know I'm at 99 perfects. I'm waiting for my 100th hundo, which is exciting. I know I've got 14. Those are easy ones for me to memorize. And this one I kind of like, just see it go up and down. But that way I know every time I check something, like if this number has gone up, it's like, oh, I must have Pogo Plussed another zero IV Pokemon, or same with the hundos as well. So here are the perfects. And that way I never throw something away by accident. So those are important to me. And then shinies, of course, just in case I Poke Plus something, and just so I can find them easily. So that's one thing. Some other search. I mean, those are the main ones for. Okay, then I've got one for. Well, I have a bunch of stuff that I don't really use. So this one's for John. This is the one I use every day, which is the 1 star, 0, 1, and 2 star just means the stats, none of them are going to be 3 star. So that's already kind of safe right there. I might wait to look like that. Just means that I'm not going to get rid of any 3 star. Now you don't need to keep every single 3 star. So you have to go back in. What I do is I go back in later and then get rid of the ones that I don't really need. Age 0 just means that's something I've caught in the last 24 hours. Exclamation favorite means we're not gonna, anything I favorited. So for example, favorite is gonna not appear on the screen. So for whatever reason, if I catch something I favorite, it's like I don't want it in the junk filter. I also like to go through my. Let's see if I can. Is there a way? Can we like select all of this? This is actually, I need to go through this search string because I don't need all of this stuff anymore. No shadows. I like to go through the shadows by myself. Exclamation point XXL and XXS means it's not going to show any larger smalls. That's another thing. I keep everything up still is my largest and my smallest Pokemon of every category. I keep no unknowns. I don't know why I did Solrock and Klefki. I guess because when they were coming out in the summer, I wanted to keep them for trades, but I don't really need that anymore. And then no legendaries as well. So you can build your own search string based on things. Let's actually build one right now. So a really easy way, let's just do 1, 2, 3. So that's going to exclude anything with 3 star stats, right? Get rid of that. Let's say you don't want to trade any legendaries. So exclamation legendary means there will be no legendaries in this search. And then we're going to do, I like to go through all the shadows just to see if there's something that's purifiable, or just to see if something might be good for PvP. I just like to go through those individually. Let's also do and no shiny. That's an important one. Always keep no shiny in here. That way you don't accidentally get rid of any shinies. So no shinies. And what else would you not want to get rid of accidentally? I guess like mythical. And you would want to get rid of, 0 star. Well, that's another thing you kind of have to check individually. And then I'm going to do and age 0. So that just gives me everything that's in. You know what's interesting? Let's see what, if we take out age 0, why do I have so many? There might be something. Oh, okay. So this is all, because this is all my old like Pokemon. So this is from, oh, this isn't that old. See what I mean? I'm still kind of hoarding a lot of stuff that I don't really need to hoard, even though I've gone through a lot of this stuff. Wait, just build your own search string, make it age 0. That way every day. So I'll give you an example. I'll just go through here. I just go through junk. This is just the stuff that I've randomly picked up. I'm gonna actually sort by number so I can look, and let's look at all this stuff. I am basically fine with getting rid of all that stuff. I can just select all, transfer, and get rid of it. Sure. Here's the thing about my junk search string is it's very broad because I still have, for example, this random Noibat that is a 3 star, but like, do we really need to keep this? Not really. So what I do whenever I'm bored, I need something to do in the game. I'll select one of them. I'll search it here and see what I've got in this thing. So I've got 3 shinies. I've got a level 1, which again, don't need to save this, but for some reason I start it. I'm probably gonna keep it. This is shortest. So what I like to do with shortest and tallest is just write shortest on there. And then this one. So there's really no reason. So the reason I would keep this one is because it's the shortest. This is level 1. Look, I'm going to do a Marie Kondo. We're going to separate ourselves from this. It's a level 1. That's great. That's fun. But it's a level 1 Noibat. It doesn't have good IVs. Oh, actually, it might have PvP IVs, but that's not like a thing. It's just not a thing. There's no reason to keep this. So let's transfer these two. And now I've just got my shinies and my shortest one. So I do like keeping tallest and shortest Pokemon. I just think it's fun. And tallest, shortest, biggest, and largest. And if I name it largest, that means it's like heaviest and tallest. But I've got all of these too, so that's kind of that's the thing I really like. I like showcases and like tall and large Pokemon. I like when they're like tiny or big on the screen. I think that's cool. So that's why I include that in my search string, which is something I realized I forgot to show you guys. But do some research, build your own search string, do that every day, and then have a method for going in every day. I just go in like when I'm bored. I'll go, okay, Kamala. Let's see how we're doing on Kamala. Kamala, we can get rid of a lot of these. That's a hundo. That's a shiny. This is the smallest. Okay, smallest, another hundo. I do save 98 still, which I really don't need to. That's another shiny. What is this guy? Is this anything? I don't even think this is anything. This is not even a 3. Why are we saving this? Maybe he used to be like a smaller sort. So let's go through, look all this. No 98s. There's a 96. None of these are like large or short. We literally can just get rid of all these. I don't know why I have all these. I guess I just haven't filtered the Kamals in a bit. But that's it. So we've got 2 hundos, the smallest one, a 98, and 2 shinies, which we maybe don't need to keep the 98s, but I like 98s, especially shiny 98s I think are amazing. Man, I've just been running this for like no reason. I'm just like too into the video, but I think it's because I am a self-identified Pokemon hoarder. This is like a topic that I think is fun and interesting. Yeah, again, just think about how much space you have. Think about if you keep Pokemon for weird reasons, and think about if you um, feel like you're gonna regret just deleting anything. Sometimes it almost feels like I'm gonna regret every single thing I delete. You know, it really feels like that. So but that's pretty much the whole video. Do maintenance on your box especially if you have a lot. If you don't play it like a ton, dude, just have a good amount of storage space, like spend a couple bucks on it or not. And just you don't have a storage problem. I mean, at the end of the day, is that's kind of there's 2 reasons hoarding is a bad thing. One is physically because you need space to keep all that junk, and 2, because you need to have like a good way of detaching from material things and not making it feel like you need to have all this stuff, right? It's really like a person can only use or value like a certain amount of stuff every single day. So think about like, are you really like valuing these things? Or are you just keeping them because you're afraid of getting rid of them, or you're tricking yourself into thinking there's like a sentimental reason that you're not getting rid of it? Stuff like that. Again, that Marie Kondo book is a really good resource for that. And I think it's a fun topic. So thank you so much for watching. Please comment. Stay tuned for more videos. Follow me on TikTok. I'm Stickstyle6, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.